Good morning, everybody, and a very warm welcome to you all from wherever you may be in the world. We are here in Sandringham this morning, and we are on the search for the lions, specifically the Black Dam Pride, and trying to see what they've been up to in the evening. The bush is alive, the noises are going, the birds are all calling, they are all getting ready to get their day going. We're waiting for the colors of that sky to change and really say good morning to us. Yeah, we are not alone this morning either. Good morning, everybody. My name is Daniel Fisher, and on camera we've got Paul. And in the Mara, we've got David this morning. We've got Kelly in Mabula, and we've got Eric in the Sabi Sands. So we're really looking forward to this morning's safari. 3 hours of quality time in the bush, between 4 different feeds. You guys are in for an amazing morning, and hopefully we manage to find the lions. And the other locations have got some amazing feeds as well, and some great wildlife action for us all to view.
Well, here we have a prime example of, well, no, not quite yet, but we saw a little bit of a commotion earlier, and it looks like a little bit of laziness on the fish eagle's part here. But we've got a fish eagle, a saddleball stork, fish eagle looking down on the saddleball stork, and the saddleball stork minding its own business, not doing anything. I suspect the saddleball stork was fishing here and looking for a certain something to potentially munch on. However, I seem to believe that this saddleball stork has ceased its hunting actions due to the fact that the fish eagle is watching it very, very carefully. Now, what happens in a case like this is a fish eagle can steal the meal of a saddleball stork. It's very similar to that of a hyena stealing the kill of a leopard or a lion stealing the kill of a cheetah. This is called cultoparasitism. It is where one entity steals from another when the other has done all the work. So the fish eagle will wait patiently and let the saddleball stork do his work, catch that fish. But because the saddleball stork takes so long to kill and to eat the fish eagle has time to swoop in and steal the meal.
I'm still in the search of my lions, and I'm still looking in this particular area, but just bumped into this huge herd of buffaloes here with the cattle egrets, as usual, enjoying the insects that will jump from the grass as these buffaloes feed. You notice some are just on top of their bodies, either enjoying the ride or enjoying the sun. I would imagine the paradise pride could be around here, because this could be the only prey they got now. We have seen what the Topi boys have been doing the last 1 month, with an average of 1 buffalo per week. 1 buffalo per week, and they are complementing or changing their menu with hippos and Topis in between. Of course, Topis were brought down by the smaller, I would say, lionesses. I would highly doubt the males, those Topi boys, would go for something small, like a Topi, because they're huge, and Topi is a pretty small prey for them. And because it's still rather cool here, you'll get to see these buffaloes will be grazing the better part of the day, and then as it warms up, like all the ruminants, they'll settle down in maybe shaded area or near water and then start chewing cud.
A lovely big bull here, having a spot of breakfast. This bull was just, it wasn't quite a snort, but I've seen these white rhino bulls many times they sort of do a huffy puffy sniffy sound, and he was just doing that. It's normally when there's an interaction going on, but there are no other rhinos that I can see here anyway. It's surprising how easily these enormous animals can disappear behind bushes. But maybe he was smelling something, maybe there was some dung or some urine from a female that was piquing his interest. Dark mane lover, this is indeed a magnificent rhino. It really is. It's incredible to get so close to these enormous animals with them being unfazed. It's very special, and I feel very privileged to be able to observe them.
We've got some water bokkies, the water buck here, and I was just taking in the morning sun. Look how wide those horns are. Those are some incredible horns, beautiful, truly are actually spectacular. You don't usually see waterbuck with horns that wide. Usually see them that long, but they are very, very, very wide. Don't see any females around these waterbuck though. I think these are two bachelors. We've seen these, well, I don't know about the male on the right hand side, but the male on the left I've seen definitely with a fairly large herd of males, but also females as well. Benjamin, not all animals. Antelope, yes. Pachyderms, yes. But not all animals. Like baboons can't necessarily do it. Certain cat species can. In fact, most cat species can. But yeah, animals with ears like those can do it. You'll find hippos can do it, rhinos can do it, elephants can do it, giraffe can do it, buffalo can do it, and obviously a whole host of others. But animals where the ears are quite close to the head can do it. Then obviously there's also animals with ears that aren't external, like the waterbuck's ears or like our ears. Think about animals like monitor lizards. They've got ears, but they don't have ears like we do. Their ears are all pretty much internal, or at least the lobe part of it.
A rather unusual individual here, because jackals are always very skittish. This particular one is coming so close to where we are. I haven't seen such a courageous jackal like this one. To me, she looks still pretty young. And let me move my head a little bit away. She's very courageous, either because, again, I said she's still very young and haven't been taught to stay away from people like us. She's about 3 meters away from the vehicle. Initially, there were two. One disappeared in the grass. I'm not sure she's looking for eggs or any chicks from the lapwings, birds that nest on the ground. Nelly Jambo from the Masai Mara, and you're saying what a special moment. And it's really special. I'm sure, Nelly, these jackals are always very skittish. every time we get close to them, they always take off. But this particular one, they'll always be one off. And I don't think she is old. I think she's pretty young by virtue of the silverback not being very dark. I'm imagining she's looking for something to feed. Boom, she goes flat there. We have these jackals. We also have another species that we call the striped jackals or side-striped jackals. See, she still moves her ears a little bit. Should she think she can catch a bird or a mouse or a mice in the grass, some rats of some sort? We've got birds like lapwings that don't like seeing jackals because every time they'll sneak on their eggs and eat them, and even their chicks. So the patch she's lying on is pretty warm. As I said, it's bare, it has no grass cover, and maybe that's where she has chosen to lay down there.
Welcome back, everybody, and just in time, we found a African rock python as he's slowly crossing the road here. Careful and cautious not to be spotted by anyone, and we stopped just in time not to spook it or scare it, which is perfect. Often snakes are quite wary, and they don't want to be exposed, particularly not in the open. Looks like the snake's actually just loving a little bit of the sun in the road there. It is very camouflaged, but also, while in the road like that, very exposed. And although this is a relatively big snake, they can get much bigger than this. Let's say this is like a medium-sized rock python, almost stretching across the entire road. Probably around 2 meters. And it's getting to that time. We've talked about the rain starting to come all over in the Mara. It was raining last night. Eric was talking about the rains coming shortly into the Sabi Sands. And the snakes are all starting to wake up. It's starting to warm up from our winter time. Not that they ever hibernated like we know. This gives you a bit of perspective as to how camouflaged it is in the grass. If it wasn't slithering across the road at that exact time, we would never have seen it. You can see the sun reflecting. It's now starting to move a little bit quicker. He's coming right towards us. Let's see. So he might start to feel a little bit threatened. There seems to be a termite mound there. Maybe that's a hole that this snake will go into to protect itself. Paul's started to worry a little bit. He thinks the snake's coming right at us in terms of direction, but this snake has got no interest in coming into the vehicle or coming towards the vehicle here. First things first, it's looking for safety, and safety is when it is hidden. I'm sure that's a hole that it's busy going into now. You'll also find it'll go into that hole for protection. However, in lots of those holes, you'll find food. Mongooses, dwarf mongooses particularly, will live in these old abandoned termite mounds. A dwarf mongoose would be a perfect little snack for this African rock python.
I was just scanning and everything is a little termite mound, and you go termite mound, termite mound, termite mound. We have the 2 male cheetah. We were scanning this area yesterday. This has been a very productive spot. We've seen some awesome things up in this area. And we were actually scanning here. Oh no, it is. It's when we had them a couple of days ago. We were scanning this area, and we said this is the worst possible, other than long grass that's so long you can't see them. But this is possibly the worst possible area to try and spot cheetah in. The black and the orange and those spots just break up that body outline so well. It does make it a bit tricky to see. Look at that rudder-like tail swishing, but that camouflage is just incredible. But it does seem that these brothers are doing very well here in Mabula. Ooh, we've got some rhino here. I'm not sure that I don't know what this rhino's doing. There was just massive clouds of dust. I think he's just scratching around in there with his horn. I know rhinos will sometimes put mud on their horn, same as wildebeest do, but he's sort of popped a bit of sand on it there. Not quite the same effect as mud, but is the other one going to go and also that? But just before there was a massive cloud of dust kicked up there. Cat fan it is. I'm very interested to see what's going to happen here if these rhino bump into these cheetah. Well, I know what's going to happen. The cheetah are going to run because other than an elephant and possibly a hippo, I think probably even a hippo would back down from a rhino.
Well, here we've got two little blacksmith lapwing chickies. And the adult is, you can see what they look like. Now approaching the adult is a warthog. Have a look at that. Who would have thought? The warthogs are very dark, as you can see. They've obviously covered themselves with some mud. Oh, it'd be cool if they if they stayed that small. Now, obviously, the three-banded plover is not that much bigger than that. Now, can you imagine how small their little chicks are? Their chicks are very small, very small. But this is very cute. They often give birth to, they often lay between 2 to 3 eggs. Usually it's 2, sometimes 3, depending on them. We had some crowned lapwings chicks about 2 weeks ago. No, about 3 weeks ago. We saw some crowned lapwing chicks. Haven't seen them since. I think the area where they were, the parents moved them away because it was maybe perhaps a little dangerous. But still, very, very cool to see. And of course, we've now got these little ones, and we should start to see a whole lot more little babies moving around, and lots of parents, or lots of birds going to be becoming parents very soon.
It's really interesting how these giraffes will spend some time feeding on one tree, and they seem very keen on it. There'll often be 2, 3, 4 giraffes feeding on the same tree, and then they will often move on. The trees will release chemicals into their leaves, which makes them bitter and not very palatable. And giraffes have a super long, they're a little bit far, but they've got a super long tongue coated with a very sticky, slimy saliva to help protect them from any injuries they might get on their tongue, because they do feed on some fairly seriously thorny vegetation. And they will use that tongue, they stick their tongue out, wrap it around the branches and rip any leaves straight off that branch. It's quite dark as well, and I believe there may be some mildly antiseptic properties to also aid with any regeneration after injury to their mouths. It does fascinate me though. I've often thought about how sensitive mouths are. Animals do have such sensitive mouths, yet they still eat thorns. This actually looks like a male on the left hand side here, feeding way up high. BBC, they can sense breakages. It's the same as, I don't know, sense probably isn't the right word. It's like if you cut a plant, latex seeps out. It's a break in the veins, in the systems, the internal systems of the leaves and the branch. So the same as latex would seep out. Chemical transmissions? That sounds a little bit sci-fi. Any breakages to that closed system, I think, would be the warning signals. But these giraffes will often feed, and then move on after a little while.
Well, we're here at another crime scene here, which has been done by an elephant. Now, obviously, in the previous segment, we showed you a marilla tree that had been pushed over. And that definitely was done by a male. But this is similar to what the females do. They tend to uproot these plants they tend to uproot these plants. So here's the poor false marula, bush willow, and bush willow over there, and here are a lot of the roots that they've gone for. Now, there's a number of reasons why they would go for such roots. Obviously, the obvious is the minerals and the vitamins, but the nutrients that is held within the roots. But there's more to that. In the dry season, it's important for the elephant's health, to maintain all of its carbohydrates, it maintain its salts, maintains its vitamins, and obviously, of course, the minerals and fats, especially in the dry season. It's important to maintain their fats, otherwise they start losing condition, and that's when their bodies start actually not enjoying them a little bit, and that's when they can start struggling. If they lose condition, that's when they start becoming quite weak. But by digging up a lot of these roots, you can see here's one that's definitely been missed out here. This is a root. I mean, you can see how thick it is here, almost as thick as my finger, and they'll eat majority of these. But a lot of the reason why they do it is for the salts. The salts is very important for their health. Think about how much salt we take in on a daily. For some people who have a salt deficiency, they actually have to eat a lot more salt than normal. But it's no different for elephants either.
Peaceful Sunday here in Mabula as well. We've just found a snoozy black-backed jackal. And there was, it's moved off a little bit now, there was just a crowned lapwing being unusually tolerant of this jackal. Maybe everyone has called a truce for the day. Winding down the weekend in peace. Someone was asking earlier about species and subspecies. So even the jackals have different taxonomic breakdowns. The golden jackal is the Canis aureus. This black-backed jackal that we're looking at now is Canis mesomelis, and the side-striped jackal is Canis adjustus. So there's even taxonomic breakdowns between those jackal. Lloyd, it's quite overcast today, but it's not really cold. I haven't got a fleece on. You know, it's cooling down. If I haven't got a fleece on, it's not too bad. But this jackal, they'll have different ways to keep warm. Obviously, jackals are mammals, so they are warm-blooded. So that's one way they maintain their body temperature. They can actually regulate their own body temperature. They will curl. They'll reduce surface area. This jackal, see, he's got his back legs tucked under and that tail tucked under his bottom there. I'm sure you've all seen sometimes dogs will curl into a donut. I call it a donut sleeping, to reduce that surface area. They will fluff their fur up to trap air. The body heat will dissipate into their fur, and when they fluff that fur up, that warm air will be trapped in their fur. Bella, isn't it just? It seems everyone and everything is pretty peaceful this afternoon. That wind down time. Taking it easy. It looks like these hippos are thinking very seriously about coming out of the water. It's not a great view here, but I've reversed back quite a long way to give them some space. I don't want to disrupt the evening's plans. It's almost like they've formed a line. There's a very clear pathway. It's okay. Lillian, they often make their way out when it gets darker. And this time of year especially, they'll often have to walk quite a long way to find enough grass to sustain those enormous bodies of theirs. So that's why you often see them near the banks as the sun sets, because often they're about to make an exit. Show us your teeth. That is actually a very cute face. It's an absolute pleasure actually being able to watch some behaviour from hippos, because it's so infrequent. Are you picking that up? That nightjar that just went coo-wink? That's very close by. That's a Mozambican or square-tailed nightjar. That is not a machine.
We hope everyone has enjoyed the weekend, and we hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday evening, and we shall see you all on Tuesday or Wednesday.